Festival by UTMB. Have a great day. 100 kilometers. One foot in front of the other. Alright, what is up, everyone? We are out here, UTMB Grindstone 100K in Virginia. We're about an hour and 20 in. Had a one vertical climb, but it was too dark to film anything. But here goes the journey. I'm stoked. Feeling good so far. But I'm going to try to give you guys the raw truth because, man, I know it's coming. Here we go. Alright, we are officially 11 miles in. About to hit our second aid station. Still feeling awesome. But, you know, we're going to see how long that lasts. This aid station is going to be crucial for me because it's going to be the start of one of the major climbs that I've been eyeing up on the schedule the whole time. So I'm going to make sure I get enough carbs in, refill my bottles, refill my hydro pack, and no reason to rush. I wish I could show you guys, but I got to get moving on it. So I got to just make sure I fuel up. I will be back to show you guys the next climb. Alright, what's up, everyone? So I'm going to be switching back and forth between my phone and the GoPro because I didn't realize how quickly those things die. But we just hit 25 miles. Feeling alright, slowing down, but we just hit a pretty steep decline. I'm about to hit a 4-mile run to my first drop back, so that'll be at mile 25. Changed my clothes. Got a little scrape after. Man, I'll tell you what, that climb, it was rough. There was a 10-mile gap between aid stations with about 2,000 feet of vert. I fell 4 times. Don't feel good after those. That uses a lot of energy, but I'm gonna get to this drop bag, change, refuel, restock. We're gonna keep this going. Let's go. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Alright, first drop bag complete. Gotta pay attention because we are back on the trails. So right now we got from 26 to 34 a 1,900 foot climb, and for that we should have another decline. So this should be, there's like 3 major peaks that when I was prepping, this should be the second one. So all I gotta do is get to mile 34. We just hit the 5-mile mark and are at 26 miles. So it was a long aid station, but I needed it. I got full new clothes, switched out my socks, feel great. Just gotta get through this climb, see at the top. Miles in, 6,500 feet of climb. About to reach the second peak. Once I do, I got a decline till the aid station, and I got a decline until the last peak. The last peak I prepped for a while. I knew it was coming. Just try to get there. Here we go. Yeah, I'm just snag some water. Do you have cups? No, I'll just, can I just have a little cup then? Yeah, so I can save some in here. you very much. We just hit my 39.8 station. We got a 5-mile flat ride to the next one, and then we got the biggest peak of the run. I'll be straight up, guys. I'm hurting. I'm sore. Fueling isn't going as well as I wanted to. And we got a lot of race ahead of us, so I just got to keep hammering away. I know on the other side of this downer is an upper, so I just got to get there. Don't know when it's going to come, but it's going to come. Mine's moving. The climb that I have marked since I registered for this race. 3 miles, almost 3,000 feet of elevation. I'm hurting, and we just had that 5-mile road flat that for some reason just took it out of me. I was down pretty bad during that road, but vibes are a little higher right now just because I get to walk. I mean, I have to walk this entire section, so I'm kind of okay with it. I need it. And then once we get to 46, once we get to the top of the peak, we got a pretty big decline to the next aid station, which is 53. And then after that, I am just kicking into gear to get this thing done. But here we go. We're in for a 90-minute hike right now to get up this climb right here. In the meantime, I want to give you guys an idea of the nutrition, the clothes, the process, and everything. This one's a little different for me because I am being self-sufficient, meaning I don't have a crew, I don't have people helping me. If you guys saw the setup video, my packing video last week, I had to pack a drop bag, and you only get to see the drop bag twice. Now, I definitely overpacked the drop bag because I was being better safe than sorry. The reason I was being so safe is because, one, the weather looked horrible with some hurricane coming through, which seems like it's holding up for now, knock on wood. But the nutrition side of things. So typically, general recommendations in these ultras are you want to get 400 calories per hour, 60 to 90 grams of carbs, and then like 500 to 1,000 milligrams of sodium. It's just not realistic when you're running this long. So I overpacked, but it's working out. I left everything in my drop bag on the first time around, so I didn't have to carry it. And that's where we're headed now, so we'll see how this climb goes. Alright, what is up, everyone? I just left the drop bags of the second last aid station and did a complete change. Took advantage, took my time. And now we are 10 miles out. I will be straight up. I'm hurting really bad. Legs, I got them get back up and going because I sat down. We got 7 miles to the next aid station on the road. And last time we had 5, and it was bad. So these are gonna be a battle 7, and hopefully I can get something going for that last 3, but we'll see. Stay tuned.
Making their way to the finish line, we have Ryan Artico and Anthony Rusamano out of Ambler, Pennsylvania.
It has been officially 1 week since race day. I am feeling amazing. Soreness is gone. Few minor injuries, just dealing with a little plantar fasciitis. Nothing major, but I cannot wait to tell you guys all about it. So let's jump right into it. So there's 3 things I want to cover for you guys. I want to go through the race, I want to go through the training for the race, and then I want to tell you a nice little funny story at the end that was going to cap off my entire grindstone experience. Starting off with the race, I cannot tell you how
awesome it went. Usually in an ultra, they say it all the time, if you plan on something, plan on the opposite, because it never goes your way. But I'll be honest, this truly went the exact way I wanted it to go. So let's go through the results of the race real quick. 66.96 miles, 4 extra miles than 100K. Elevation, 11,160 feet of total ascent. Total time was 14 hours, 12 minutes, and 5 seconds. And I got 81st out of 333 finishers in the 100K. My original goal was to do it in 12 hours, but to be honest, I didn't know how to take into account the elevation with the ultra. It was kind of an arbitrary number. So seeing 14, I am very, very happy with. So the reason I chose this race was for a couple of reasons. One is part of the UTMB World Series, which is a World Series of ultra marathons where the end goal, the UTMB final, is to do it in Mount Blanc. Mount Blanc is an absolutely awesome race. It's a 100-mile run where you go through Italy, Switzerland, and France. It is absolutely my bucket list race. But in order to get there, you need to get lottery points, and there's a bunch of qualifying races, some in the United States, but a lot in Europe and all over the country that are gonna get you more points towards that lottery. So the more points you have, the more entrances you have into the lottery, obviously giving you a better chance. So this was my first UTMB event, so I got 3 points. Now I can register for the UTMB World Series finals and hopefully get it, but again, I only have 3 points, so I may need to do more qualifiers. Second reason that I did this race was because it was a Western States 100 qualifier, which is one of the most well-known ultra marathon 100 milers. I am definitely going to be registering for that, not for 2024 unfortunately, but definitely for 2025. And the final reason I did this race was because it was 25 minutes away from my alma mater, James Madison University. It was so cool because I got to stay in a hotel in Harrisonburg, go down to the race. I went to school for 6 years at James Madison, 4 undergrad, 2 grad, straight through. So I lived there for 6 years. So Harrisonburg is a special place in my heart. And best part yet, this was weirdly coincidental. But on the same weekend of the race was our rugby alumni weekend. So I also played rugby at JMU, and every single year we have an alumni event. It was that weekend. So I'll get into the story, but after the race, I was able to see all my boys, catch up with everyone, and it was absolutely a perfect weekend. The last thing I wanted to touch on about this race was that I completely did it self-supported. I didn't have anyone with me. I didn't have a crew. So it was just me, my drop bag, my vest, and the aid stations, which makes it a lot harder, but a lot more special because it is literally you versus you. If you guys saw the packing video I did last week, you'll get a good inside look on everything that I had to take with me because it was self-supported. But like I said in the intro, it went just the way I wanted to. I packed enough clothes, I overpacked nutrition, which is okay with me. I'd rather have more than not. There wasn't really any point in time where I was like, crap, I need this or I need that. So it truly went the way I wanted it to go. Alright, so enough about the race. I want to go through the training and give you guys an idea of what that looked like, how I prepared for this race, because it was very different from my normal ultras. Obviously with the elevation, that changes things around, but also my location of training made it very, very difficult. I did most of my training in the South Jersey Shore in Avalon, New Jersey, and if you guys ever been to the South Jersey Shore, you probably know it is flatter than flat. The last thing I needed for this training period. But I was there for about 2 months. Most of my training was on flat ground with very little mountain runs that I could fit in on the weekends. So I want to run you guys through an average week of training for my strength training, my workouts, but also my runs to give you an idea of what it took for me to get there. Throughout the entire training, I was doing 6 workouts per week and then 5 runs per week. On Mondays, I did leg strength and mobility. So if you guys ever heard of the knees over toes guy, Ben Patrick, absolutely love him. Check him out if you haven't. It was a lot of strength-based stuff, but mostly mobility, just so I can loosen up the hips, loosen up the knees, ankle mobility, make sure that I am fully prepared for the terrain of the race. I took a lot of what Ben Patrick does and made it my own, and it is my absolute favorite workout, hands down. I think the biggest value that the knees over toes gave me were on the descents. I actually picked up so much time on the descents because I felt so strong. My quads never really blew up, kneecaps never really hurt, patellar tendon never really hurt. It was absolutely amazing. I felt so strong, and I have to give a lot of credit to the knees knees over toes workout. Tuesdays I did upper body and a run. Wednesday mobility and a run. Thursday stability and core and a run. Friday was another upper workout, no run. Saturday was always my long run, and Sunday was my third upper workout and then a recovery slash just get it done run. So in terms of my workouts, those never really changed. That was pretty consistent throughout the training period. Off on Mondays to recover from the long run and the recovery run. Off on Fridays to prepare for the long run. So you can see my program was really built around the runs. Now to give you an example of what my running mileage looked like. So I'm going to run you through my peak week, which was 4 weeks away from the race. This week I hit 70 miles through 5 runs. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I did 12, 12, 12. The long run that week was actually my at-home marathon. If you haven't watched that video, go check that out. You can see the whole thing there. That was actually my peak run. And then my final run that week was 8 miles the day after the marathon so that I can run on sore legs to kind of simulate the later stages of the ultra marathon. Some will say that a marathon isn't enough to train for this. Some will say it's too much. It is so depending. Your program should be very personalized based on you, so keep note of that. Usually on the weekends, I would try to go find a mountain that I can get some elevation in, but I only got to do this a handful of times when I was traveling, and then a few treadmill incline workouts here and there, probably touching around 2,000 feet of elevation, but that was about the extent of it. I never really went over 3,000 to 5,000 feet of elevation in my training because I just didn't really have access to it. And at the end of the day, I knew it was gonna get done. So that wraps up the training for it. I wanna get into the third and final thing that I wanna touch on, and that was the key moment in this race. It's actually pretty funny because the key moment didn't happen until after the race. So I finished the race around 8 p.m., was absolutely stoked, so happy to be done. It was cold, it was raining, but hey, I was done, so it didn't really matter. They threw on an emergency blanket over me. I was like, I don't need this. I'm going to my car. It doesn't matter. So it was about 1/4 of a mile to a 1/2 mile walk to the parking lot where my car was at, which is brutal after you ran 66.9 miles. But as I'm getting in my car, all I have on me is everything that I was racing with. So my vest and my GoPro. That's about it. And as I approach my car, first thing that I noticed is the light on the car is on. So I'm like, awesome. My car is gonna be dead, so I'm gonna have to find something to jump it. So I go, grab my vest, ready to get my keys, and before I even open my vest, it hits me. My keys are in my drop bag. I mentioned it a little bit before about the drop bag, but in these races, your drop bag is at one of the aid stations. It's about 25 to 30 minutes away from the base. I cannot tell you the feelings I went through when I realized I did not have my keys, I could not get in my car, and I could not turn on the heat in that moment. It was horrible. So I took off my vest, I threw my GoPro, slid them all into the car because it was raining, waddled my way back the 1/4 to 1/2 mile to the base, went to the medical tent. I was like, guys, I messed up bad. My keys are in the drop bag. Is there any way someone can take me up there or someone can bring them down? The guy looks at me and goes, let me see what I can do. I'm like, all right, I'll take it. I sit down and I just wait it out. He's on the walkie-talkie, getting someone from that aid station, trying to locate my bag and then get someone to bring it down. They eventually do, but this whole process takes like an hour and a half. So during that hour and a half, I am freezing cold. I'm soaked. My body starts cramping. I'm sitting down in this uncomfortable chair with an emergency blanket on, absolutely shivering. I ended up dozing off a little bit in my chair with the blanket on, just shivering like this. About an hour and a half later, the guy comes over and taps me on the shoulder and goes, hey buddy, we found your drop bag. So I get up. Tough to get up in the first place, but I get up, literally waddle my way to the drop bag. My hip flexors are on fire, my quads are burning, my plantar fasciitis just hits me like no other. My feelings, I was so excited to have my keys, I was hurting so bad, but at the same time, I knew that the light in my car was on, so I was most likely gonna have to get someone to jump the car anyway. So I wasn't done yet. I grab my bag, I waddle again down back to my car, throw my drop bag on the ground, dig through my drop bag, take everything out, grab my keys, unlock the car. The dash to the car turns on. I was like, no way, no way, no way, no way. I push the engine to start it and it goes on. I cannot explain how happy I was at this point. It's probably 10 p.m. now, 2 hours after I finished the race. The car turns on, the battery's not dead. I crank up the heat. I don't even change. I drive straight back to the hotel because I wanted to get home so bad. All I wanted to do was shower. I got back to the hotel, I showered, changed, couldn't really eat or drink anything because my stomach was so messed up from the race. And by 11 p.m. I was ready. I got back into the car, drove to campus to JMU to see my buddies, say what's up to everyone, and that's how I wrapped up my night. It was tough, but it was really cool to see everyone, and I'm very happy I went. Got back, slept that night, and actually the next day drove down to Fort Lauderdale, Florida for the entire week for a vacay/business trip. So when I say other than that moment, this race went absolutely perfect. Again, overall, the race went amazing, the training went amazing, and then I got a funny story out of it. So I am very proud of myself, happy with the way it went, and I'm just so excited to share my experience and my story with everyone. If you are still watching up to this point, thank you so much. Please, if you could, subscribe. It will just support me. And if you are looking for any coaching, nutrition, exercise, lifestyle, running, lifting, whatever it is, I am very happy to help you. So check out my website at www.rusamanotraining.com. Thank you again for watching, and look out for a new video every single Monday at 10 a.m. Peace.